Perfect.
Really? Awesome.
That's generous.
Very cool.
Excuse me. eVoice America, right?
Correct.
Yes.
.com.
All right. And welcome to the program, everyone. Charles Moskowitz here. Thanks for joining me. eVoice America is the topic of this segment. We're talking about conservatives really obtaining and achieving parity, if not dominance, online in terms of reaching people. And to help us do that, there's this organization, eVoiceAmerica.com. Dee Dee Jeffries is here as part of the group. Dee Dee, why don't you start out and give us a little thumbnail with regard to what you're doing at eVoice America?
Well, thank you very much, Charles. Pleasure to be here. eVoice America is a take action website that's geared to the potential of every American reaching directly their elected reps from their district and their state to submit opinions on their topics of importance to reach Congress so that Congress can have the potential of reaching. At one point, there were 25 million emails emailed to Congress, but because they went into a black hole, a one-way exit only black hole, they were never registered to the American people as what the thrust of those emails would have been on individual issues that could be published to America, and then America could in turn hold Congress accountable based on these numbers. So we feel it's just a everyday American tool to register a momentum and a majority impact on future decisions of policy for that Congress needs to know to make those policy decisions consistent with their majority. Um, their majority. And if you don't mind, I'll turn it over to Sandy because she has her favorite
Sandy,
things too.
tell
Sure.
us a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how this works. How would I, as a concerned citizen, as a consumer, how would I use this facility to reach my congressman or Congress in general?
Of course. When we developed this site, we developed it from a perspective of what would ideally every American want to see in a website that would give them all of the impact that they needed to influence Congress. So what we do, it's free, and secondarily, when you sign in as part of the nuts and bolts, you register with your address, and then we provide a field for your zip +4. And this zip +4 gives a precise boundary for your representatives, as well as we know the states are all very is geared, of course, to the Senate. So then you get a recurring list that we update as eVoiceAmerica.com for every election and for every change that happens in Congress, in the Senate or the House. And this recurring list happens every time you log in and every time you submit an opinion, and you can check which elected rep, and we even include the president as well as governors, so that if it's a state issue, it can go to the governor, if it's, and the senators, your federal senators. And so this list is always updated by eVoice America. So the nuts and bolts are that you register, and then when you how often do you listen to a talk show host and they say, write your congressman or call your congressman? Well, we know that never works. And so we developed this as a response to how do you respond on issues that are important to you. So then you come onto the site and you have your recurring list in the background. You go to an issue, and we have an issues grid that we are keeping updated. You find an issue, you then get an issue submission screen, whereby you respond yes or no to that issue. Are you in favor of reopening the schools? Do you want charter schools available in all communities? Those kinds of hot button issues. You choose that issue, you respond yes or no, and we call that an e-vote. Now interrupt me anytime if you need to have questions.
No, I'm following you. And so basically you open an account with with this e-list,
Yeah.
and then you can take a look at issues being debated in Congress,
Yes.
and also in states and in by governors and by the president, and you can then vote on those things, a yay or a nay, and that
Yes.
vote is registered with that elected official.
Exactly. This is not a poll. This is an actual um, organic information delivered directly to each citizen's member of Congress. And so this e-vote is harvested by eVoice America and then creates majority percentages, not just for the nation, because Congress people don't respond to national polls. They think, oh, those aren't my constituents.
Mhm.
And so this goes directly to them daily in a report by issue with yes, no percentages, and then they can know how their constituents are feeling. And then this data is available online within the site so that you can know how your fellow constituents are feeling. You can also know nationally how it's happening. But the important thing is these constituent majorities, which
Mhm.
has never been happened. This is a patented site that has features that no other website has in terms of statistical garnering of these e-votes. And that's what makes it the most powerful, is that it delivers data to Congress. Now, Dee, jump in
Oh,
anytime.
it's huge. No, I mean, it's a
Sure.
huge thing when a congressman gets even a letter or a call
Hmm.
on anything from a constituent. That's huge because they know that that represents hundreds, if not thousands, of people. And so, if you have
Exactly.
a means by which such information and data could be delivered to an elected official daily, that can have a huge impact. Now,
Charles, could I
the
just interrupt one thing?
yes,
And I beg your pardon,
not at
but
all.
the it, beyond the yes no e vote is the personal opinion. This is we don't give our 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 members a stock message, which is you can anybody could know is just discounted and circle filed, if you will. So it has the impact of that personal opinion, personal experiences. Those are critical to Congress, and they add weight to the information.
Well, wait. Let me
S-
let me ask you. I'm sorry to
Sure.
interrupt, but you're saying then that eVoice America puts in like a personal a commentary, and you get to vote on that, or
I'm sorry. No, there's a message box, Charles, where
okay,
that message box
It's a
is
text.
mandatory. It's a
It's a
text box.
text
I
box.
understand.
Exactly.
So you get to vote yay or nay, and you get to throw in your 2 cents.
Yes.
Right. And we duplicate exactly what they have on their their .gov template. So it goes to them as if it is a so there are two levels. There's the aggregated majorities, which are not personal. We don't break that down, but we also send concurrently all the information that they would require from a constituent to submit an opinion on their official website. So they get in their report from their constituents their name, their address, but this is
Oh,
not
good.
public. It only goes to their constituent rep, you know.
No, that's very key because then they know that
Yep.
it's someone that really is a voter in their
Yes.
district. Now, how do you gather the information? Does this come from the congressional record or from a state record, or are these mainly just public issues that are being debated that you want to see up there as for commentary?
Well, basically, they're national issues. For instance, if a state got involved, it would be on sanctuary cities or, you know, police conflicts with
Hmm.
defunding the police, et cetera, or the violence. But yes, so it's at two levels. It's the aggregated yes no percentage, which has no names or addresses or personal information attached. Then the second level is going directly to the congressman as if they were a constituent. But these are basically national hot button issues, and often legislation is involved if
Hmm.
it relates to tax, payroll tax deferral, or any of these hot button issues that may require either executive orders or legislation, or it can be at the policy level where they
I
are.
also see a great possibility that this could be used by and should be used by the media because if this is public and
Mhm.
someone can go onto eVoice America and see how people are weighing in on an issue, whether pro or con, along with commentary, then that's something that it could be used by political opponents in a congressional race or in any other race. And it could be used by the media to take a pulse of people in a district. What are
You
they
na
thinking about something?
you nailed it. And
Yeah,
so that's where the accountability comes in, is that we now know what Congress knows and they know that we know it. Boom.
there you go.
So the
When
media,
did they know it, and when did they? Who did they know, and when did they know it? That's
exactly.
oh, that's amazing.
And so this is, yeah, and we just are so committed to this. We've spent 14 years developing it, and we've added and refined it to the point where we now feel it's really, really ready for public.
Oh, it's an extraordinary idea, and it's very cutting edge because
Thank you.
this is the new age of communication, and a way to organize letters online, particularly to elected officials. That is an enormous power. I mean, it
Thank you.
really is, and I'm hoping that. I mean, speaking as a as a talk show host, I mean, I intend to look at this and get a gauge on issues and what people are thinking. I mean, to me, it's a great tool.
Well, we
Well,
hope
thank you.
so. But it's very interesting because we, as a small business and as privately funded entrepreneurs getting this going just out of a sense of commitment to the country and what it can do for the country and our representative democracy and restoring it, um, we need exposure. And so that's the trick,
Hmm.
and getting honest people that are intellectually honest, such as yourself, and who are unafraid of the public opinion, is really our challenge, is getting the media to pick up on it. And because we can't afford national media on Rush Limbaugh or some of those shows that really could impact. But
Right.
there's an anecdote I'd like to share with your audience, and that is that
Please.
when there was a liberal talk show host that was interested, based on a conference we attended for the talk show community. And so he said, follow up with me, call me. So we called him and explained exactly what we do. And he said, you mean you don't tell them what to say? We go, no, they submit their own personal opinions. And it was click. He hung
This,
up on us because he wanted something where people could be told what to
You
say
know,
and how to say it.
I've had the same thing when I've interviewed liberals on my formerly on my radio program,
Uh-huh.
in that they want to know what I'm going to ask them in advance. They've even sent me, they want a list of questions. I mean, they want to control the
Yes.
yes.
conversation. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's not how I do it. I mean, I have a spontaneous conversation, and you just, yeah, if you believe in what you believe in, you should be able to, shouldn't have a problem with that. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly,
now,
exactly.
the other one of the things that I could see possibly happening here, not that this is a bad thing, but I could see if and when your site becomes more publicly known and popular, you might have people who try to skew it in a way. Like you'll have people send out a note saying, "Contact eVoice America, vote no. Contact eVoice America, vote yay." And
Hmm.
they're going to have their followers in the hundreds or thousands weigh in on something based on what they want, and then that's what's going to show up. So, I mean, I don't know what to do about that, but I could see that as
Yeah,
something that might happen.
well, true, but we kind of figure that those people are the lemmings that just, don't really want to make any effort, and they just
Hmm.
kind of are, and plus they'd have to think
There you
to
go.
create
Yeah.
to create an opinion. And we are geared so that if there's uh, a repetitive response, then we block them. So
Mhm.
it's not they can publish
Good.
um, a stock answer and then flood the system with it.
Right.
And you can't stuff the ballot box because only one opinion is permitted each day on an issue and on a
That's
given
good.
issue. So that's safeguard that we build in. And of course, there's a vulgarity and all of those
Right.
civility.
Community
Um,
standards. Exactly.
yeah, exactly,
Can I
exactly.
can I interject two things
Sure. Sure.
that might
Please.
be because they're right on point. Um, Going to the impact of the data. and the reporting of it to the media, which you brought up, Charles. What we also have is a congressional coalition builder, which makes this exact same data not only available to the rep for his district or state, but it makes it available to all reps in Congress so that they can know what each other rep has by majority and the issue. So they can create coalitions with states that they would never otherwise know had majorities on an issue that they want to vote X or Y. So it is a global kind of wrapped up into one big ball where the data is important to each individual. Whoops, I'm sorry,
Oh no,
as
that's
to
fine.
how to vote, but it also goes to all reps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and.
Yeah, it's very this is historical because reps often just vote in a vacuum, but now they can vote based on coalitions that they build with people that they know have same majorities in their direction. They can also pressure people that have like a 50-50 saying, oh, listen, we have this many votes that are in favor, so why don't you just jump off the fence and come over to this? And then it also says to people, we know that your majority is saying this, and if it's a Democrat, then they're going to vote. It prevents them from voting against their majority and voting the party line by saying, look, we know that your majority wants you to vote this way, and then if you don't, that's where the media comes in. For instance, that Joe Miller vote, yeah, there was the one vote on Obamacare that from the North Dakota
Yes, that put
person
it over the top.
that put it over the top, and dollars to donuts, his majority wanted him to vote against Obamacare. So, it's one of those things that this coalition builder is something that's just never historically been possible, but because of the technology, it is now possible. And,
Right.
and so have any questions on that or how it works?
Well, I mean, the one obvious question that comes up is there a fee to join it?
The Congress pays a subscription fee
Okay.
to
So
get
there's no
that.
fee to the regular person if I want to join it.
No.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
no. Well, you join it just by launching your opinions on the site. And
Right.
then that opinion goes into the Coalition Builder report as a part of a majority issue on an issue and influences Congress in that way. And then it also goes directly to the congressman as a constituent. So it's really quite powerful.
Oh, it is.
And so there's no way now that there's anywhere to hide. The cockroaches, the lights on, and they have nowhere to run,
Now,
And
have you put together a good social networking platform to promote? Like, do you have the obvious ones like Facebook and Twitter and Parler and YouTube and whatnot, so that you can start to reach out and publish the information, and so people can see it and comment and then get involved?
well, let's see. That's kind of a tricky one because we have been so focused on the site. We do have a Facebook page. We've been shut down on Twitter.
Okay, well, that tells you
Surprise,
something.
surprise. Yep. Does it
But you have to
not?
join Parler. Parler is an alternative to Twitter. They do a pretty good
Okay.
job.
Well, good to know because we
Yeah.
did not know about that. And
Anyone that doesn't genuflect to the left is now jumping onto Parler, including me.
okay.
Good.
Oh, that's so great to know. Well, yes, so we can, and so we will put these new issues out, on Parler or on Facebook, and so that people can know that but it's kind of a chicken or the egg question. We have more than 2,000, almost 3,000 members, but it's just hard to get the ball rolling without someone such as yourself that has the courage, and you are the only one so far that has had the courage.
Well, you're just starting out, and I
Yeah.
mean, my YouTube will be seen by people, and then you can start to reach out to other people. You can certainly use this interview to send to other people and ask them
Lovely.
to cover it,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
just begin to expand very carefully your sphere of influence, because it's a great idea, and it's one
Charles,
that I think will be around. Yes, Dee.
thank you. There's one other feature that we have to bring up that is definitely user related for all the purposes we're talking about. And that is there's would you reelect me today? So when everybody submits an opinion, one time per day, you can check a box because you have your elected reps based on your zip code and zip +4, where you can say, no, I would not elect you if the election were today, or yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are also available online the next day. The previous days majority on would you reelect me today is available online for the previous day. And
Sure.
so this is also available to Congress so that they can see potentially in the millions, or hundreds of thousands, because those numbers can make a difference on a close election,
Oh, you bet.
that the grassroots I'm here American can actually have an impact on their future. And their future is everything to them, as we
And
know.
and that relates to the last thing that we feel we bring to the table, and that is a constituent-only town hall. This is another historical feature. Log Me In has seen the value of eVoice America to their credit, and
Mm-hmm.
they developed a constituent-only town hall whereby they can limit their town halls, and so no outside agitators or hacktivists can come into the town hall and disrupt it as they would a in-person local town hall.
Right.
So this this way they increase their constituent outreach and goodwill and electability, because there have been studies. One study was done by the Congressional Management Foundation on a group of constituents who had a webcast town hall, and they found that their electability went up 14% and their goodwill went up to like 24%. So this is a way of increasing communications, effective communications between Congress and their constituents on a webcast basis, up to 5,500 constituents in a call.
Mm-hmm.
And Congress
Incredible.
should pick up on this, because it makes it much more personal and peaceful and civil.
And
So
Oh, absolutely. Great
these
way to
can't
screen. Yep.
the each individual town hall cannot be
crashed.
crashed or imposed upon by hecklers
Good.
because of our technology. So we have melded two very noteworthy, well, Log Me In as a player, and their
It is.
technology of control and
Features, yeah.
outreach, and then ours limits and controls the participants to constituents only. So it's a
Excellent.
perfect handshake.
I think that you're going to pick up a lot of steam as the election gets closer because, we know that candidates are going to be scrounging for votes. They're out there trying to reach people. And I would even say both sides will be trying to use your facility to reach their constituents. And it's like you're well poised for that right now. And I hope that you're able to amplify your profile to get that done.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank you very much. We just have to rely on the American people, once they know about it, to do their part. And there's been this silent scream of how can I be heard, especially on this Antifa, Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
violence issue and criminality. So we appreciate so much this opportunity to explain it to your audience.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I intend to hop onto the site as soon as I hang up right now and start to use it, and then I'll have you back and we can talk about what I've learned. So,
Well,
I
can you give us a couple of hours? I have to add a few issues that we've been so busy on um, some other fronts that I need to get that kind of updated. So
no, not at all. But I'd like to continue the conversation, and and as we go forward, especially as I say, as we begin to approach the election season,
awesome.
it's going to be
Thank you.
amazing.
We'd
So,
All
welcome
right.
that.
once again, let my listeners and viewers know where they can get log into your site. How?
Just go to evoiceamerica.com, and it's going to bring up another telecommunications company, but you just have to insist on
Not Voice
evoiceamerica.com.
Voice America is a
Is the
telecommunications, but
Okay.
eVoice is our site.
eVoice is your
Yeah,
site.
Edward Voice America, one word.com.
Excellent. Well,
Awesome.
thanks so much for joining me this afternoon.
Pleasure.
Appreciate the time. It's our pleasure.